Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Dorothy here from the CCMA. You're very welcome to our webinar this afternoon on the topic of how to grow sales and retention through coaching. On the screen, you'll see myself, hello, Niamh from WSI, Cormac Murphy from Grow, and Paula and Katrina from Zevas, who are under no pressure, even though all of their colleagues are watching today, so they perform or they'll be in trouble. So as always, I'm just going to give a couple of minutes for everybody to log in. But the reason for today's webinar is that Zevas and Grow won the award at the CCMA Awards last year for this particular program, and I think it's very opportune because obviously in the current pandemic, the challenge of coaching and the impact it's having on sales and retention is critical for all companies. And I know this was the category of best use of technology. So I know Katrina, Paula and Cormac are going to share their experiences of how they've completely turned around their coaching model since the impact of COVID and the pandemic. So we want to make it as interactive as possible. We really would encourage you to put any questions that you have in the little chat panel to the right-hand side for those of you who haven't been on our webinars before. And I can put them to the panel as we go through or at the very end. We'll have a recording of this webinar available, which will normally go up a day or two later, and we'll also have a copy of the presentation. But please do make it as interactive and ask them really tough questions, and I'll be able to tell them if the questions have been from their colleagues or not, so they'll know. So I'm going to hand over to Cormac, who's going to do the introduction. Cormac is, as I say, Managing Director of Grow Earth, and he has worked with Zevas. Zevas worked with Cormac on implementing this project, so he's going to give an overview and then hand over to Paula and Katrina. So thanks a lot, Cormac.
Okay, Niamh, could I have the next slide, please? So welcome, everyone. I'm going to take a back seat today, and really, this is the story of Zevas. Paula is the operations director. Katrina is the training and development director in Zevas, and Paula's going to take us through the first few slides about who Zevas are and what happened in 2020. And then Katrina is going to take us through some of the processes and how she interacted with Grow.Earth and drove for some real changes in the tool to meet the challenges of 2020 and the results that came from that. So without further ado, I'm going to hand across to Paula to kick off.
Perfect. Thanks a million, Cormac. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to take you through, first of all, who Zevas are. I suppose the journey that we've taken over the last 12 months, coming up to 12 months, and what we did to overcome some of the challenges that not only Zevas, but a lot of companies out there had over the last 12 months. So who are Zevas? Zevas were established in 2003, a privately owned outsourced and insourced customer contact solution for companies who are looking for support around every customer communication and interaction. We currently have 140 employees, all working remotely now. We've got 20 campaigns across utility, hospitality, fintech and e-commerce. So I think that over the last 12 months, there's definitely been a lot of learning across those areas in terms of how we could support them through sales, customer experience, tech support, and we've started working within content moderation as well. So we deliver service through voice, chat, social interaction, artificial intelligence using systems like Five9, Salesforce, and have worked with other systems like Zendesk and Intercom as well. So that's kind of some background on who we are. And just to start on the journey that we went on last year, and again, like a lot of organizations out there, 2020 was an interesting one. We started off the year thinking everything was rosy, everything was fine, lots of plans on, how we were going to grow the business, the strategy that Zevas were going to take. And by March, part of that was kind of totally thrown up in the air. We had started with a site in Dublin, a site in Cork, never had an employee working remotely or off-site unless they were going, on visits or client visits. We had discussed plans on, having that flexible working life balance, but it was kind of, that's way down the road, that's 2025 strategy. But we didn't know that within 3 to 4 weeks that it was going to become the new norm. So I think that the first challenge that we had was our infrastructure. We had been set up to work on site. That's the technology that we had. And we came very close as well to it all being over, because the telephony system that we had used was in-house. We had only just started the implementation of our cloud-based system. So not only did we have to look at all our employees going off-site, but we also implemented a brand new phone system across that remotely. We also had, you know, I suppose one of the biggest things is that we had to get laptops, we had to get equipment for people to be able to work off-site in a time when every other company in Ireland and across the world were doing exactly the same thing. As we started settling into the year, then, you know, we came up with challenges with regards to recruiting staff in country, trying to find how do we now manage these teams, how do we coach them, how do we drive performance. Our teams couldn't meet team leaders face to face like we would in the office, and that's very much the culture that Zevas had. We had a coaching culture where it was one-to-one, it was documented, every agent was able to see their coaching documents at their desk every single day. So we had to quickly turn all that around while still maintaining our performance, our productivity. I suppose at the start it was getting through one day into the next and seeing what challenges it would come up. But I think that one thing that was really, really important for us was the visible leadership that myself, my team, our senior leadership team displayed throughout this whole pandemic. And when I say visible leadership, it was about open communication. The senior leadership team had open huddles where if any agent or any employee wanted to drop in, ask a question, we were there at any time of the day. And that was something that we drove with our team leaders as well, and our managers across the site. So we kind of had to make a lot of changes. One of the main changes that had to be made was with coaching. Because we were off-site, we didn't have that visibility to see what coaching was being done, how often it was being done, was it effective? So I'm going to hand you over now to Katrina, who's going to take you through that coaching journey and the changes we made and the results that came from that.
Thank you, Paula. Welcome everyone. And you know, we're delighted to be invited here today. A bit nervous. It's our first gig since we won the award. So it's lovely to be able to share our own experience and how we did things and, you know, the challenges we faced going from on-site to off-site. So thanks, Paula. So I suppose, first of all, I just do a tiny bit on how Zevas works. We adopt a very supportive, caring culture. So it's your coaching culture, but we are still very firm then on accountability and responsibility. So take the fluffiness out of it. So we do believe in empowering all our employees. We believe in delivering effective coaching. We know how powerful building this type of culture is and the positive impact it has on our business, the results we do deliver, not just across our sales team, but across all departments and at all levels as well. So we, as a company, we never stand still. We're always very open, and we're always looking for ways, new ideas to deliver outstanding results and efficiencies. We are a third party. Anyone that is a third party would know meeting expectations is not enough. You've got to exceed expectations. So what you're seeing in front there is our coaching program before COVID. Okay, so we had a coaching program in place using the GROW method, okay, which is widely used on a global level, Sir John Whitmore. It is one of the most researched coaching methods in Ireland and the UK. We were using Grow That Earth system, which is Cork's system, as it was an approach that allowed recording of the coaching conversation as it was happening. There was the agreement part of it. It was fantastic in the office as it allowed us to support our team leaders' coaching. It gave us the space for conversation to go to places that mattered for the learners. It allowed reporting, really good reporting as well. So we could scan the sheet, they'd print the sheet. Then when it was all finished, both had signed off, the commitment was made, we would scan the sheet and all the information then became reportable. And for the agent then, the agent could keep the sheet, a record of the sheet in a little stand on their table. So kind of like a reminder of the commitment I've made to the change of behaviour I'm going to do during the week. And the worst thing I ever had to do is send an email to the guys to upload the scans. I had the advantage of working remotely. I was in Dublin for 2.5 years with one of our sites on Twitter and from Google perspective, so it was no problem for me to do training and stuff like that remotely. And this allowed me to look at the reporting while I was remote to ensure that the coaching was effective. Okay, so next slide there now. So why we stopped rolling it out. When we went to work at home, it didn't work. We could no longer see the coaching sheet. We couldn't share it because it was more manual process. We had to print it and sit down in the coaching session. So then you're talking about printers, photocopiers, scanning. We tried phones, it just did not work. So we had no choice only to pause Grow That Alert and how we did the coaching. So what was the gap? We lost all visibility on coaching, which is, I'm passionate. I'm over 20 years in learning and development. So coaching is one of my things. Like I'd wreck your head with it. I'm so bad. They're sick of listening to me. But we did lose all visibility on coaching. The sessions, were they taking place? Was the process being followed? Were the coaching sessions effective? Are we closing the loop? Are we doing the correct smart actions? Are we identifying the right issues? And the funny thing is, performance and productivity remain consistent during the transition from on-site to remote, and actually increased. And it is very, very hard then to kind of get a grip on everything, but and get people to kind of see, eventually this is going to impact us when we don't have the visibility. So I reached out to team leaders and they were good, they were well, everything was fine, they weren't coming across any issues. I suppose the thinking was COVID offsite was kind of temporary, almost a whole tough attitude, we'll be back to normal pretty soon. My thinking as well. So, but it wasn't. So the move from on-site to off-site, having your challenges, identifying them, number one, which I think was quite a tough thing to do. A really tough, particularly when your KPIs were, everything was going smoothly. So I knew from experience that we would need to change existing processes, introduce some new processes for remote working, as it was fast becoming the new norm. So the fear of losing the above insights actually terrifies me, very real. I have our Chief Operating Officer, John O'Sullivan, always says, if I can remember it now, what isn't measured, it doesn't get done.
What gets measured gets managed.
Gets managed. I knew I do it wrong. Thank you, Paula. And our Chief Executive Officer, Con, the owner, I had the privilege of working with him on the Dublin sites. And I used to attend a lot of the meetings with him, and I loved his ability to see around corners. And that always stuck with me. So I learned from the best, being honest, John and Con, thumbs up there. But that experience taught me that if we don't get a handle on our metrics around coaching, eventually it will be a slippery slope. So the new tools, what we needed. So at this point, Cormac rang me and uttered the words, Kat, I see you're not using Grow. I cut loose. I said, don't even go there. So we had a good conversation, and we identified what we needed to be do. And it actually is very funny because it showed me I was going on the right track. So I had this issue and it was worrying me, but I never thought of picking up the phone to Cormac and talking to him. Okay. I was actually in my head, the remote thing in my head was figure it out yourself. Okay. And that's what we needed to stop. We needed to keep that kind of team and working together. So the first thing we looked at is the coaching commitments. We needed the ability to gather them while we were on our calls. It needed to be very simple. So we needed an online sheet. We needed the reporting. I needed to see the reporting again. And he was thinking about, no logins and passwords, but very, very secure. So enter Grow 2.0. So we also needed the access for the TLs and staff. It needed to be quick, efficient, and no big hassle for them. Everyone now, because I suppose in our company, the one thing we have, your team leaders could have 3 teams. So in effect, they're running 3 little companies, so 3 different clients. Think of that, 3 lots of reporting, 3 lots of product, 3 lots of MBRs, QBRs. So timing as well, they're pretty busy people. So what Grow.alert implemented was machine learning bots. So we could make all requests for sheets and reports by email. And the Grow system could understand and respond. And there was no need for passwords and logins for the team leaders, staff, or the managers. I found this fascinating. So
Katrina,
it's
I don't know if we need to go to the next slide.
All right, next slide. Sorry. So, so we're on slide 10. Are we okay there? Yeah. So we need better reporting as well. Okay. So the visibility. So first of all, the company report. So perfect for Paula. She can just email in the morning for the report, one glance, and she can see at a team level, company level, are the sessions being done. The second one then is a team report, which is detail of what each TL is coaching on.
Yep.
Sorry, 2 seconds. Yeah. And the third one then is a staff report. So it gives you the individual people on each of the team, and it has the staff member over the last 6 months. And you have a little extract there on what it would look like. I suppose the new addition to the report that I absolutely adored was a user report. And the only way to describe it, it's like a little book on your employee's coaching journey. Every single session comes in, and it's like a book on the life of the coach and his sessions. And I absolutely adored it. You send for the user report and you get to see what's happening in the session, but you also get to see how the coach is doing. Okay, so really good. So if we go to the next slide. Cool. So what our new process was like, close the loop, our call recording. We use OptiApp as a tool for scoring the call. We identify the issues, we set our goals, we use smart actions, smart goals, and of course we have the commitment. So everything is measurable, everything is clear, everything is on paper, we gain the commitment. So the operational impact then was evidence that sessions are taking place, the visibility on identifying everything that's going on, the actions, the smart actions, and in turn then that gave me effective material for effective workshops, better targeted user guides, and more effective. Then I could bring some of the feedback back into the new hire onboarding training to put a bit of a more focus in there. And of course, look, the halo effect in all of this, and the reason we all commit and we do this, increase in productivity.
and I think from an operational perspective as well, you know, the process with Grow has now become a lot, it's grown itself, it's become a lot more efficient than, you know, having to take the paper, scanning it, uploading it, sending it. It's all done online now. And from a high level, what's important for me, you know, within the operation is to be able to see full company view, so I can see exactly how many sessions are there, but I can drill right down into the users, and it's not just about volume or that it's a tick the box exercise. I can actually delve right into each individual user, do spot checks on the managers to make sure that the coaching that they're doing is effective, that SMART goals are being used. So it's a good training tool as well to be able to get an understanding of any training needs with the management team, so that that coaching culture isn't just for our agents, it's for our managers, it's for all of our employees, and it's just become so efficient now to be able to use it for any aspect of coaching, that we've seen huge results across our teams.
Cool. Thanks, Paula. Next slide, Cormac. Okay, so one of the extra things I got out of this, in Zevas, we believe investment in staff interactions and skills, and team, in particular, team leader coaching skills, so are clear. So we really put a high focus on it. And I suppose our first priority at Zevas is our frontline. Okay, the guys that are on the calls, they're number one. The second priority is the coaches. Okay, you do, and that's quite unique because other companies work from the top down. Okay, but because of 2.0, and particularly in the user report and the reporting, I was able to create and build a remote leadership coaching program. So it allowed me very easily to identify the TL development needs, evaluate the effective coaching, visibility. Are they closing the loop? Are they getting rid? Is the behavioral change taking place? Are they writing the SMART goals? Are they agreeing them? Are they specific? Are they measurable? You know, communication skills, it's amazing. Even from the words, you can pick up, you know, there's a better way of saying this. You can pick up where there is even a tone in it. It allowed me then to do that gap analysis and build a great remote leadership program, which I think Paula has that in on this as well. She's enjoying it. Yeah, at this stage. So next slide there, Cormac. Okay, the results, that's our contact details for anyone. So the results achieved are, you get to see your coaching frequency. Like, you do need the tick the box first. You need to get everyone to do it. Out of that, then we got an uplift in coaching in the scores very quickly. New hires we found coming to the floor ramped up very fast. The team leader engagement, the team leader skill set, I think you have more of an engaged audience all round, and the team leaders are happy. They go in with a clear, structured process and they see results. So it's much easier for them as well. The other thing is retention. So you do see, if you have a more engaged workforce, then of course it impacts on your retention for your employees. Plus as well, our client retention, you know, delivering outstanding results. We can day in, day out, week in, week out, you know, is the bottom line for us, is what we need to do. So I'll leave it at that. Paula, do you have anything to wrap it up?
No, I think we're going to have any questions that are there now, and thanks very much for listening to us.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Katrina. Thanks, Paula. Yeah, a couple of questions. I'll kick off with one from Rachel. She's wondering how many coaches per employees to be effective. How many coaches do you have per employee?
We use a ratio of 1 to 12, so one coach for every 12 agents that we have. I think that for the coaching sessions to be effective, they need to, you know, happen very regularly. They need to be tracked, they need to be followed up on, and to just keep that closed loop on the experiments as well, to make sure that the action at the beginning, there's a result at the end.
Perfect. And Cormac, a question, can you just explain briefly the mechanics of how it works and what's the setup and training required for people using the system?
So it's very, very simple to set up. We just upload the existing company structure. The department manager or the team leader is automatically the coach, but you can override it if you've got a senior that's doing some coaching. So the technical setup's very simple. The access to the sheets is done through, as Katrina mentioned, you send an email off in normal language to request your sheet or your existing experiment or whatever, and we're using the same technology that bots use behind the scenes to turn that English language request into a SQL query and then send you back the right sheet or the right report. So actually the technical training is very simple. It's really a half hour or so to do it. Now, really where the effort is in connecting your development program to the tool. So one of the things that you can do is you can set up goals associated with your roles, and you can connect what you're doing already with your training into what you're doing with Grow. And what Grow will do is it will let you see whether your team leaders are coaching according to your standards or according to your program. And it, as Katrina mentioned, it gives you these tools on top of it. So suddenly you get all this new visibility of what the team leaders are doing, as well as what the agents are doing in the recorded calls, and you're able to coach at that level. So what we found working with, we work with a utility, we work with a bank as well as Zevas, where the effort really comes is in the culture change to really help your team leaders to coach. And the initiatives that Katrina has started here with the team leader coaching program and now the senior coaching program, that's really where the effort is. But to be fair, that's where the value is as well. Mm-hmm. I don't know if does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, perfect. And I have another question, and I'm going to mispronounce the surname, so apologies. Kanokan has asked, for the case study during, if I'm reading this correctly, basically I think the question is, during the timelines of the process, how much coaching does it take to get an evident result for the agent? Now, I know you talked, Katrina, about different programs, different clients, and obviously different metrics, but I presume there's no absolute answer, but how soon do you see an impact, I suppose?
Okay, so a couple of factors. Your new hire onboarding program, if you have a good, robust new hire onboarding program, when they come out, if you have a good structured process written down, so it's very, very, very clear. We coach to our call journey. Okay, so your simple things, our guys are on phone, so you're talking questioning skills, objection handling, closing. They're your three main areas, plus your information on your product. So if you have a good structure in place, you can start fixing stuff immediately from day one. You will see the uplift and the change of behavior very quick. Now, key to it, SMART goals. That person you're coaching, they need to come out of that session knowing exactly what they need to do, when they need to do it. You need to give them the support materials and the advice to support them. And if you coach, say, on a weekly basis, you want this change done when you come back in next week. And when they come in next week, it's that closing of the loop. That's where you get your improvement. You need to collect the evidence in between. Has it been done? Has the change of behavior, has it happened? If it has happened, well done, pat on the back, and then close that loop and then move forward. But the key is, if it's not done, and this is where people may fall down, you do not move forward. You put that in place again for a second week, and advise. Every company has its own ways. If the behavior has not taken place on the second week or the second session, then, that's an attitude problem, and you got to deal with that. And once you start closing the loop, it's the key to everything.
And Katrina, would it be an
I
average
think,
of
Katrina,
one?
though,
Sorry, go on, Cormac.
Yeah, sorry, Dorothy, I think you're asking the same question I was. Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to ask just, is it on average one coaching session a week, and how long, what sort of duration on average would it be?
So within our company, they have, so there's two different things. So we have coaching for skills. So your skill set, like I said, objection handling, tone, and all of that. So they have 2 sessions every month. So for 1 hour every second week. And then they have performance, which is your KPIs. So this is where you're at. This is where you need to be, and this is that's done on a weekly basis. But it's the same principle for both. But in your coaching sessions for skills, you do not bring stats into it. I've often seen increase sales. Okay, you're doing your skill set, increase sales, that's for performance. Okay, but it is up to the individual. Consistent quality over quantity. Be consistent in your process. I would love to get to the stage where you could send any coach into any team and the same process comes out of it. And it's about empowering. Cormac and myself were talking about this. Most of your particularly sales team leaders and your coaches, they come from working in the sales environment. So they come from being the best salespeople to team leaders. And the need to just take over. The need to take over is amazing. And they find it very, very hard to sit back and empower the employee. What do you think of this is grand. Yeah, it's great. And then kind of guide them into where the issues are and not be afraid to pull them if they're not seeing it and say, looky here, you're not doing this on a call or whatever.
I'm conscious of time, Katrina. Can I just ask one quick more one, and I might put this to Paul if that's okay. Gavin has asked, we work with external partners in different countries. Do you, and if so, did you face any challenges implementing the new model?
Yeah, we have global clients as well. So we work across EMEA, APAC, and the US. I think once we got our structure and our processes in place, that's the foundation. So it doesn't matter where they are in the world. It was the same process, the same structure that we put in place. We have our managers and our teams that work the evening shifts or they work the night shift to cover APAC. And like the same challenges were the same challenges, but by putting the right foundation in place, it carried across all different regions.
Okay, perfect, great. I'm conscious of the time. I know we sort of committed to finish around half. We're gone slightly over. Cormac, Paula, Katrina, I know you're more than willing to have a further chat. Your details are up there on the screen for anybody that has any further questions, or they can find you on LinkedIn, or they can drop me an email and I can introduce you. But I certainly know from the awards last year that the judges were very impressed with how this very simple piece of technology or application, the impact having on the results in the organization. And I know we've people on the webinar here that are from sales organizations, so it certainly sounds like it's really added value for you there as well as on the customer service side. So thanks so much. Great to get the practicalities of it and learn a little bit more about it. And as I say, anybody that wants further information, just get in touch, and I know you guys would be delighted to help.
Sure. Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thanks,
Great. Thanks a million. Great to see you. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.